FBA fees climbing, I'm losing my grip. Storage costs rising, they'll never let me skip. Refunds I'm eating, returns pile up too. Oh, Amazon, what else will you do? I look at my dashboard, my profits erased. My margins are gone, it's a slap in the face. Prime Day's a promise, but it's such a race. How much will I make if I'm replaced? It's a cruel, cruel number. Fees keep climbing, profits torn asunder. Oh, it's cruel, the sellers wonder how to survive when the margins go under. It's a cruel, cruel number. Every month it's something new to plunder. Oh, it's cruel, it's no wonder we're stuck in this game. The algorithm's thunder.
Yo, Amazon's back, and they got a new scheme. Reimbursement slashed, it's every seller's dream. They're digging deep, taking more from the pot. Let's break it all down, expose what they got. March 25, it's a policy drop. They say manufacturing costs, but we know it's a flop. Give us your cogs, they're demanding the price. But if you don't, they'll estimate nice. Nice for them, not for you. Watch your payout shrink. That comprehensive evil is a corporate wing. Lost in the warehouse, damaged on the floor. Now they pay you pennies, not a cent more. Fees on the rise, profits on the run. They don't lift a finger, but they pocket the fun. We're fair! They shout while they cut our shares. Amazon math, man, it's full of errors. Fees, taking our dough. They're stacking the deck, and it's sellers who owe. Reimbursement? Nah, they're taking us down, but we're still here, we don't mess around. Fees, straight to the top. Amazon's game, it'll never stop. Margins tight, but we keep the grind. Sellers unite, we're one of a kind.
I try to sell my product on Amazon, thought it'd be a breeze. But little did I know I'd be stuck with seller support disease. They never seem to solve my problems, just give me the runaround. I'm tired of waiting on hold. My patience is wearing thin, I'll never be found. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck. Can't get no satisfaction. I'm out of luck, out of luck, out of luck. You don't care about my business, just trying to make a buck. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck.
This one's for the sellers on the grind, getting left on red, wasting all their time. I hit up support, got an auto reply. Thanks for your patience, man, I wanna cry. Inventory lost, my margins are toast. Reps playing tag like the Casper the Ghost. They pass me around, it's a never-ending game. Nobody takes action, everybody shifts blame. My ASIN's down, I'm out of the race. They say they'll escalate, yo, what a disgrace. Amazon seller support, you're breaking my heart. No answers, no fixes, just tearing me apart. Hours in the queue, stuck in the dark. Amazon seller support, you're missing the mark.
Amazon game plan, that is the key. Seller central dashboard, that's where I be. Analyze the funnel, see what we lack, then we optimize. Sellers know it's a fact. I get it poppin', you know that it's lit. Climbing the rankings, ain't no room to quit. I check the data, they notice the stats. I keep the method, that's how you adapt. Metrics are showing, you know it's our cap. Amazon sellers, it's time to react. I'm about that action, I do this with passion. I got them like, whoa, what is this? Huh, whoa.
I don't know, dude. I think everybody's just buying stuff based on reviews and badges or whatever. They don't even know who we are. These customers don't even know the name of my brand. But they keep clicking add to cart like it's part of the plan. They see that Amazon badge and think it's all grand. But yo, they don't even know the name of my brand.
Click, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue dials, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell a day. Now listen up, I'm Steven Pope. Amazon guru, I'll help you cope. Step 1, get that trademark stamped. Without brand registry, your Amazon cramped. Head to Seller Central, log in quick. Manage stores tab, yeah, that's the trick. Upload your logo, flex that style. You're about to make Jeff Bezos smile. Where pick a template, marquee or grid. Drop your tiles like a branding whiz. Hero image, big and bold. This store's gonna glitter like digital gold. Flex, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell today. Yo. In the trenches of the Amazon game, trying to survive while it's driving me insane. Nobody warns you, they just claim it's passive income. Nah, it's pain. I'm sitting at a birthday, laughing, chilling, next to a newbie Amazon seller spilling. She's like, Prime so smooth, it's a killer. Then tried to sell, now she's stuck in a thriller. Finding products, yeah, that's the first grind. Scrolling Alibaba, losing my mind. Samples suck, manufacturers decline. I'm like, dang, how's anyone doing this fine? Ship it in, pay for the bubble wrap, but they ship glass bottles in padded crap. Now I got hot sauce leaks, refund stacked, customers pissed. Man, I'm under attack. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Trademark wars, brand registry's a scam. They banned my brand, now I'm in a jam. Listings yanked, products ranked and tanked. Lost dogs in the catalog, my account shanked. Now let's talk ads, it's a rabbit hole. 1,000 hours deep, man, it's taking my soul. Weekly negations, bulk sheets for control. Excel's my new weapon, but it's taking its toll. SEO's no joke, keywords in the game. All text, A+ content, playing insane. Lifestyle shots, avatars for fame, but the CTR's low, all products look the same. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, from SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Let's go to Max School. To Max School. Class is now in session with Professor Pope. They got the SAP, cause Professor Pope wrote the recipe. Helping Amazon sellers grow sales exponentially. Amazon's a jungle, but we map the strategy. Brand strategist playbook, it's a guide to victory. Troubleshooting catalogs, you know we got the answer key. Boosting all your rankings, turning sales into a legacy. SOB so deep, you think we studied at Max School. Every step we follow leads to growth, yeah, it's a golden rule. Stuck on keywords, we'll find the ones that work the best. Using Helium 10, strike distance keywords pass the test. Incremental indexing ensures the listing set to rise. From the back end to the bullets, optimization hits the sky. Brand store creation, yeah, we make it shine and flow. A+ content design makes conversions overflow. Need your images on point, best practices in the plan. All text and photo rules ensure your visuals command. SEO meets PPC, it's balanced, every step aligned. We'll construct the MKLs that drive rankings over time. Budget caps and bid adjustments, no more wasted spending. Segmentation builds campaigns that sellers can defend. Got a hijacker, no problem, we'll file to take them down. Review requests in action, 5-star ratings come around. Flat file updates, market share reports, it's all in reach. Professor Pope wrote the SOP so sellers learn and teach.
Meanwhile, my Amazon guys on the case, fixing up my problems at lightning pace. Ticket escalations, Mag's the boss. Even Amazon says we'll take the loss. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. They're supposed to be the pros, but they can't decode policies and tools from their own damn road. I'm paying fees, yet they bring me stress. But Mag turns my chaos into pure success. Seller support reps, they throwing shade, but then admit, yo, Mag will get you paid. Third-party agency taking the throne while Amazon fumbles in their own damn zone. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. So here's the truth, let's keep it real. Mag's the team with the pro-level skill. Amazon sellers, you know the vibe when support says call Mag. They'll give you peace of mind. Amazon seller support, you can suck my image stack. Sucking is all you're good at anyway. Bezos, hit me up if you want to sell seller support. I'm buying. There's a chase. Peace.
All right, we are live, and we're going to be talking about pay-per-click advertising. We are in the home stretch of the holiday season because Christmas is just a little more than a week away. It's hard to believe that. So my name is Kevin Sanderson. I am the marketing and partnerships guy at my Amazon guy, and we're going to be helping you with your pay-per-click advertising or anything else that you need to take yourself to a whole new level into the new year. And did I just freeze up? Oh, no. Am I here? Can y'all see me? Can you hear me? All right, let's see. Uh-oh. All right, so it looks like folks can hear me, but you cannot see me. So I'm going to refresh myself real quick. All right, I am back. I think we lost a few folks. Sorry about that. Am I still frozen? Can you hear me, see me? Let's see. Everything good now. All right, so sorry about that. So who's still here? So first off, if you're still here, thank you for that. For those who are like, what just happened there? Technical glitches. That's what happens when we are live. This is not pre-recorded. We are live here. So Abanoob says, yes, all good. Vidushi says, yes, see you, hear you. So that's good. All right. Because before people were saying you could just hear me, but they couldn't see me. I was like, okay, that was me just freezing myself. But anyway, let's get to your questions. Let's get to helping everybody. So hopefully this has been a good holiday season for you. This is kind of like the Super Bowl. This tends to be, for me, one of the busiest weeks of the year because it's like we're now 8 days away from Christmas Eve. And so pretty much if it isn't arriving before Christmas Eve, it's not really arriving. So this means we have like a week window. So that means once we get to about the 23rd, like sales really fall off a cliff. So not terrible. They still tend to be better than, like, for me, the rest of the year, but they're not as good as they are other parts of the year. So, or as they are the rest of the holiday season, I should say. So what that means is that now is an awesome time to still get some more sales in, get more people buying your products. So let's see what we can do to help you with that. So if you have questions, drop them into the chat. We got folks watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, some other stream. I don't even know where it goes, but it's an RMTP or RTMP, one of the two. I don't know, some technical jargon-ish. Basically sends it out to the ether somewhere on the internet, and folks are probably watching us there too. So if you want to get your question answered, drop it into the chat. One thing I have learned, having done this many, many times, is we get more people joining us as the stream goes on. So that's good. It means we're providing value, or at least people are seeing the value in what we're providing. But also means that the channels that you're watching this on are recommending it to more people, and they tend to recommend the stream to more people as people are asking more questions. So the stream doesn't actually care if people are asking questions. They just care about engagement. So asking a question implies engagement to Mark Zuckerberg and the folks at YouTube and LinkedIn and everywhere else. So if you want your question answered, the best time to ask it is now, because that queue of questions tends to build up as the stream goes on. So, all right, so I'm going to start answering your questions. Drop them into the chat. It's the best time to ask it. And the more specific you are with what you need help with, the more specific I can be with how I help you. So that's my one little rant there. So, all right. So with that, Abanoob says, hello, Kevin. Hello, Abanoob. 1 out of 2. So first point I'm making, I'm getting a decent amount of sales from my auto and broad campaign from a search term when literally is the first 4 or 5 words of my title. I'm sure this combination is not listed as defined as a defined keyword in Amazon's backend. Should I put this combination as a negative keyword in those campaigns to stop losing money on a search term that I'll always rank number 1 for? Okay. So you're getting a decent amount of sales from auto and broad campaign from a search term from which literally is the first 4 or 5 words. Okay. So if it's the first 4 or 5 words, that usually, whether it's truly you get more SEO juice out of the first few keywords, or just people are more likely to see it because their eye doesn't go to the whole phrase or whatever. Also on mobile, you don't see everything that you see on desktop, and so it's more truncated. It's truncated sooner, meaning you see less words, or the algorithm just assumes, and this has always been a theory people have, and I've never known whether or not it's 100% the case, that the first few words the algorithm gives more weight to than the ones at the end. Now, it's probably also the fact that people see those first few words, not the words at the end. So with that, your question is, it's not listed in the keywords backend, which, yeah, if you have it in the first 4 or 5 words of your title, do not put it in the backend. You need to have words in your backend that are not in your front end of the title, that are kind of like the title is the most primary real estate, and then your backend is the secondary real estate. Should I put this combination as a negative keyword to those campaigns to stop losing money on search term that I'll always rank number 1 for? So that's an interesting one you're going to have to test out. So I've seen people do this where it's like you're ranking number 1 for a particular keyword or search term based off of a combination of words that are in your title. Do you really care where you're getting the clicks and the sales from? So if you're getting the sales already from that keyword and you're ranked high, and you're also going to remove that keyword as a negative so that you're not showing up in PPC because you're already ranking organically. Sometimes though, if you're ranking in those, first, let's say 4 spots in that top row with PPC, but you're also in, like, let's say number 1 spot organically, that's 2 above the fold spots. So you might actually lose some of your organic ranking if you turn off that spout of people in that top row, assuming it's 4 4 paid placements that you're seeing on that keyword. So I would be cautious about turning that off, because you said I'll always rank number 1 for. That's not always the truth. So you may think you're always going to rank number 1 for that particular keyword, but you probably won't. So I would be very cautious turning that off. And if you turn it off, just, track the keyword ranking. A day later, do you stay in the number 1 spot? A week later, are you still in the number 1 spot? 3 days later, so not waiting all the way to the week. 2 weeks later, 30 days later, are you starting to lose some of that that placement? And then also take a look at, like, according to, let's say, brand query or brand analytics, I should say, search query performance report, how many sales are you getting for that particular search term? And then look in your search term report and look and see how many paid sales are you getting for that. So whatever your total sales are minus organic sales, total sales minus paid sales, and then that'll figure out how many organic sales you get. And then so figure out, like, what the mix is. And so if it's like 80, 90% organic sales, then maybe it's worth turning off the PPC if you're not getting that many. If it's, 40-60 split, like 40% PPC, 60% organic, you're giving up a good chunk of sales just because you think you'll always rank. So I would be very cautious having the mindset that you will always rank, because that's not always the case. All right. So eSavior says Amazon PPC ads are fire. Amazon guy songs are amazing. Oh, yes. The songs we created before. If anyone's like, what is he talking about? You can always backtrack before the stream started when we had the countdown timer going, and we've got some, if you've never listened to them, it could be a fun exercise. So you may want to check those out. Can you show me the updated method of doing keyword research? So we've got lots of videos here on this channel, which I would suggest you check out. Basically creating a master keyword list. So, and we've got if you look on myamazonguy.com, you look on SEO, this is basically phase 1 of, coming up with your master keyword list. I would say this is something that's foundational, and we wouldn't say it's necessarily updated. There's probably, thank you for to our producers on the back end there for putting that banner there. I would say this is still foundational. We still use Helium 10. I know a lot of people like Data Dive. So there's a lot of different ways you could do this. But at the end of the day, you just want to see what are the keywords that are ranking. And, some people will start telling you like, oh, well, you got to figure out like for Rufus. There's no Rufus strategy that we're aware of other than hype, because Amazon says a lot of people are using Rufus, but like, are they buying products from it? Like if you ask your friends, or just look at polls that like we've done and I've seen other people do as well. Like, do you know anyone who's purchased something from Rufus or as a result of a search on Rufus? And it's almost zero, like across the board. So I wouldn't worry about like AI from the standpoint of optimizing your business based on Rufus. We're not there yet. Maybe one time in the future there'll be more adoption, but most buyers aren't on it. So it's still search, and that part of finding the right keywords has not changed. So if you're not sure of our process, you can go to myamazonguy.com/SEO. You can also just look up keyword on our channel, and you should find plenty of content on that. So hopefully that helps you. All right. Vidushi says, hi, Kevin. Have you tried the Amazon bid placements? Which one of them performs well? New to brand, add to cart, or purchased brand's product? I've not personally used them yet. Oh, sorry about that, folks. I clicked the wrong thing and I muted myself, and that's happened earlier too. So sorry about that. I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties. So thank you everybody for your patience. So anyway, yes. So regarding bid placements for audiences, we definitely use them for clients. I've not done it in my own business. It's worth testing out. I would say, at least add to carts would be probably the number one to look at, because those are people they've already added to your cart. So bringing them back, and that's an old school strategy that people have been doing forever and ever. And so with the advent of the internet, we can figure out who's added to cart and then target those people with ads. And so Amazon's giving us that ability, which we haven't always necessarily had with getting higher bids for those people. So it's definitely worth trying out. New to brand is probably worth testing. Purchase brand's product. So that one I would only do if, let's say, you have a product that is somewhat people are going to buy again. So I like to pick up stuff off of my desk. So I went to the dentist this morning, and they always give you like dental floss and stuff like that. So like dental floss, toothpaste, supplements, garbage bags, things that people buy ongoing, or for me, poly bags, shipping boxes, things like that, things that people are going to go back and buy again. Those would be worth testing out for a purchase brands product. But if you're selling a calculator, how many people go out and buy a calculator and then buy another calculator anytime soon? For one, people tend to they don't buy calculators like they used to, because it's already on your phone, and you can million websites you can do it. But if some people like to still have a old school folks like myself from the 90s would like to have a calculator handy just sometimes just to type stuff in. So, but I'm not going to go out and buy another calculator anytime soon. I've had this calculator for probably at least 12 years. And I don't see myself buying another one. So if you have a product like that where people aren't going to come back and buy your product anytime soon, I wouldn't focus on people that have already purchased from your brand, because are they even going to remember your brand when they go to buy 12 years later? And, and I don't know how far back Amazon's data is even going to go. It might be like a year. So it's worth testing out all of these. And I know we've had success with some of our clients doing these, or many of our clients. So all things to keep in mind. All right. Next up, Farhad Ali says, to be a good PPC manager, what approach should we adopt to ensure consistent campaign performance and long-term growth? Should we focus on daily optimization, or is it better to take a more strategic long-term approach? Yeah, good question. So one phrase that you'll come to learn in this business, and this applies to almost everything, it depends. It depends. It depends. It depends. Everybody wants like this is the black and white answer. So when it comes to like how often should you manage PPC and like do optimizations, daily can be overkill because sometimes you don't have enough data to know if it was worth making a change. So some accounts, like if they're spending $1,000 a day on a particular keyword, yeah, maybe you want to do it daily. If they're spending $1,000 a day, maybe daily, maybe every 2-3 days. If they're spending, $3,000 to $5,000 a month, maybe you can do it every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month. So it just depends on how much they're spending, because, if they have a bunch of keywords and all of them have like 3 clicks and 1 click here and 2 clicks there, and maybe the biggest one has 5 clicks and 2 sales, like, you don't have a lot of data to make an informed decision. So you oftentimes need a wider time perspective. So if you have a wider time horizon, then you can make better decisions. And you can also look at small windows of time, like is anything, falling off a cliff? And then wider periods of time. So here's an exercise, and I've mentioned this to people before, and this is a good one to do because you can only do this in the next 2 weeks. You're like, what? What's that? So most of Amazon's stuff that they give you, like the reports and the data they give you, is like up to 60 days or 90 days. So if you want to take a longer, more strategic approach where you're still looking in the back, if you go into the targeting tab in your ads manager and then you look up the date range for year to date, so rather than like last 7 days or custom date range, I think only goes back 60 days on that screen. You can go back to year to date. You can go lifetime, but if you're like me, lifetime might take you back to 2016 on some campaigns. So that doesn't really help you, but you want to know like this year. So this is a great way to clean up any issues that you might have with keywords that are getting clicks, but just, not performing like they used to. People's tastes change, the competition changes. So I would say if you go into the targeting tab, change it to year to date, sort by spend, and then filter for no sales, and then also ones with sales, and sort by largest ACOS going down. And then that should give you some insight into, keywords that you can get rid of. And that's a nice thing you can do, because once January 1st comes around, year to date includes 1 day. Right now, year to date is like 350 days ish, something like that. Yeah, 349, 350 ish. I think if my back of the envelope math in my head made sense without an envelope. But taking a more strategic approach, you should also focus on, at the end of the day, all PPC does is give you eyeballs. It doesn't even really give you clicks, technically. So what gets you clicks is your main image and the price and the title and the reviews. So those all factor in. The biggest thing, of course, is because people are very visual, make snap decisions based on what they see. So your main image, so improving your main image, that's a more strategic thing you could do. Because if they don't click, it doesn't matter how good your listing itself is, how good the product is, you don't even get a chance to convert them. So then you want to focus, then once you got the clicks, are you getting the sales? Are you converting them? And so that would be like your A+ content, the copy in your listing. Although we like to say pictures are for people and the words are for robots. So just keep that in mind. But still, some people do read, but not as many people as look at the pictures and make snap decisions. I'm more the guy that takes a look at the pictures and makes snap decisions. My wife like analyzes like all the reviews to see like, what's going on there. So that would be something I would recommend, that you take both approaches, But if you're going to be a PPC manager and you want to do it long term, you're going to have to also look at it from the standpoint of not just how do I get impressions, which is really what PPC does. Yes, you're looking at sales and clicks and all that fun stuff, but PPC's job is to put it in front of people, put it in front of a relevant audience. And then from there, are they clicking and are they buying? And if they're not clicking, they're not buying, they're not going to show it. And if they do show it, it's going to be at an increased cost per click. So just things to think about there. So, all right. So Hosen says, hey, Hosen. E-Savior says, happy to see you again. Well, happy to be here. Glad to have you here again. And then Abhishek Mahavya, hopefully I said that okay. How can one grow as a PPC expert in UK, USA, Canada marketplaces? So one, attend things like this, stay on your education, watch videos and interviews from people who are, expert PPC managers, follow other people in the space like Mina Elias from Trivium, follow Elizabeth Green, follow Michael Erickson Fasheen, follow Destiny Wishon, follow lots of great people come to mind. And I don't want to throw out too many more names because I'm going to start getting to like, oh, if I say this person, then I'm going to feel bad. Did I miss someone else? There's tons of people. Attend one of my PPC Mastery Summits when they come out in the future. So focus on the education part. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like swimming. You can learn all about proper stroke techniques and training and nutrition and all that. But you got to jump in the pool. You're not going to be a better swimmer unless you get in the pool and start swimming. So in order to be a better PPC manager, you got to start making decisions. Like, okay, do I increase the bid? Do I not increase the bid? Does it make sense? And why? Oh, was that a good decision? Was the bad decision? Oh, I did the same thing last month and it worked fine. Now I made the same decision in this other account and it didn't. What would cause that? So just your brain picks up on a lot of little things from experience. So you got to get a little road rash and you got to, fight in the school of hard knocks. So anyway, next up, we have Abanoob is asking a question, which if you have questions, drop them into the chat for those folks watching. I will do my best to get to them, but I always tend to run out of time on these things. And as we go longer, people start asking more questions. There's an energy behind the question. So if you want your question answered, the best time to ask it is right now. So, all right. So with the previous question, I think that means people search for the same title of mine. Oh, okay. And this was about 4 or 5 words in your combination. Should I put this combination as a negative keyword? To those competitors are in those campaigns to stop losing money. I don't think so. I don't think it's worth negating, as I was stating earlier. So hopefully that made sense. Because again, if you're making the sales and, unless like, you can take you can negate those search terms and then you're no longer showing for that search term and you stay number 1, then maybe it was worth it. If you negate that search term and you suddenly are 4, 7, organically 10, now you're on page 2, it was not worth it. So just keep that in mind. My Asin Khan 9082 says it's still worth it to start a private label business now or a Shopify brand. Oh, that's a good fundamental question. So it is infinitely more challenging today to sell on Amazon than it was in 2015 when I first started. Or my private label brand was, I think I got samples in like December 29th or something like that, like 2025. And I made an order and I got my first shipment into Amazon of my own product in like February of 2016, turned on ads and all that fun stuff. The reality is it is harder, but Shopify, it's also harder because Facebook ads are more challenging. Yeah, you also have Google has their Performance Max and people like that, and you could potentially do, influencer marketing. But all the levers that you could pull, whether you're on Amazon or you're with a Shopify brand, are different and more challenging than they used to be. So I would venture to tell most people, like, you can still do it. And there's going to be people have been asking this question every year, even before I started. I would hear people say, oh my God, it's 2015. It's too late to get into Amazon. People have been doing it since 2009, 2012. It's impossible now. And, people have succeeded, and people are going to start a brand today and succeed. And both on Shopify and both private label on Amazon. So either way, you're going to have to pick a business model and go down the path of figuring it out. Now, I would say you're going to have to decide, is it Amazon private label, or just, let's say, brand on Amazon, or brand on Shopify? Two completely different skill sets. Shopify is more about getting the traffic, and it's more important to convert that traffic. Whereas with Amazon, it's more like how to rank against your competitors, which you're still doing in Shopify, but not to the same extent as with Amazon. Because Amazon, it's like the stream's already there and the traffic's already there. Are you going to get your piece of the pie or not? Whereas with Shopify, it's like you build it, they don't just come, type of thing. Amazon, you can build it and they don't just necessarily come to your listing, but there's a lot more you can do to tweak it and get people coming to your listing, or at least showing up for certain keywords. But Shopify, I've never quite cracked the code on Shopify. I still get a few sales here and there. In fact, I think I have an order I need to ship out, because I don't do that many orders on Shopify, but I do know I have an order I need to ship. So that reminded me. Frankie Zolo says, I have a couple of auto campaigns that I ran in the past. Do you recommend going back to see the data and start a new ad, or run those and add some negations? I have a couple of campaigns I ran in the past. Do you recommend? Why not? Here's the thing. There's history on these. So if you can turn it back on and it gets sales, let it get sales. I would say keep it. How long does Amazon keep the data for ads available to sellers? So, I mean, if you, like I was mentioning before, there's some places you can go and change the slider or the menu or whatever to year to date. That gives you all year. Something's lifetime. And in my case, some of my campaigns, the data goes back 10 years. So if you're talking about like when you turn on a campaign, like you might be able to see the lifetime data for, auto campaigns you ran in the past. And then, if you saw the graph, there'd be a, flat line at the bottom, for whatever time it was turned off. But then you turn it back on, you're going to see some, some sales come in, and hopefully it acts similar to what it was in the past. Now, in the past, when you say in the past, I don't know if that was, 3 months ago, or if that was 3 years ago, or that was 10 years ago. So it just depends on how far in the past. But Amazon's algorithm is always looking for new data. And I've done that before, where some campaigns I turn off and then I turn back on just whenever I feel like it. So it just depends. But I would definitely test it out rather than starting from scratch. If they were performing well in the past, I would turn them on, see if they perform well now. And, you can, like I said, you can always search, or you can change your filters to say lifetime. So that way you can see a longer time horizon. You can compare recent performance of that campaign to what it was in the past. All right. Abanoob says, I tried to create a variation for a current one variation listing. I wanted to see this current listing as the parent, but I don't know how. Can you tell me? Okay. So if you think about it, when you sell a product, it's always a child variation. It's not technically true, but just follow my logic here. So I have this cup. A parent variation is like a cup. And then let's say I put ice cubes in. The ice cubes don't necessarily have to be in the cup, but if it's together with other ice cubes in this parentage, then I need a container. So your parent SKU is basically like a container that you put the child variations in. So you can have listings that were standalone listings that become child variations. Now you can have Amazon create a parent SKU, but it's going to be a different SKU than your existing standalone product. Now, if you have you're calling it a variation for a one variation listing, so you probably have a parent SKU, and then you have a child SKU. So, like for example, if you were going to use bulk file, you would, whatever that column is, you'd say it's a child, and then you put whatever the variation type is, and then you would match it up to the SKU, the parent SKU, the SKU of the parent, not the SKU of the one standalone variation, but the SKU of the parent. And then that would now merge them. So on that row where you have your product that you're adding to the variation family, it's going to be a child SKU, and then you just put in whatever the column is for the parent SKU, and then that'll link it up. Of course, if there's not errors, which we love those errors when you upload files. So anyway, side note. So try to figure out for that particular category what the minimum requirement is for data. I have found the less data you give Amazon, the less likely you're going to have stuff break. And oftentimes when you do bulk files, the errors that come back do not describe what the problem actually is. It's just whatever, something breaks, and then the algorithm says, show this, and then it shows this, but it's like something completely different is the actual product or actual problem. So, all right, next up, Faisal Shah says, you should apply, this is telling someone else, Abhishek Malavia, you should apply practically what you have learned. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So this is about, I think the person who asked how to become an expert in other places. So yes, it's all about practical application. So well said, Faisal. It is all about how do you take what you've learned and apply it. So you want the book smarts, but you also want the street smarts. And I think technically you want both, and learn from others and their street smarts. All right. So the salon guy says, hello to you, salon guy. Is there ever a time a higher ACOS between 90 to 150% could ever be a good thing for exposure? Well, so you said ever. So you're on the right track that generally speaking, that's not a good thing. You're kind of donating money to Amazon. So you're the salon guy. So I'm assuming you're selling products in beauty category. So if you're selling products in beauty category and they're recurring, and let's say you have 40% margins and the average person buys over their life 6 times, so you have 240% break even ACOS essentially, because you have 40%, let's say, break even ACOS on one, and the average person buys 6 times. It's probably not going to be that high. It's probably very generous, but just you have that. Or if the average person buys twice, your 40% break even ACOS is really an 80% break even ACOS. So if you know your math and you know that your lifetime value of a customer is high because they buy multiple times, then it could be worth it. Now, if you're Coca-Cola, you might have data that says, when we're in the top 3 places of, on Amazon, which I don't know if Coca-Cola actually takes this stance, but let's just say they do, that, we've noticed that our end caps, the end of the aisle, in Targets and Publixes, so let's say certain grocery store chains, tend to have higher penetration percentages. So they may have weird data that they can correlate. Most of us, we're more direct response, meaning we put ad out, we put dollars out, and we want to have dollars come back to us quickly. So the only other time I would say for the average seller who's not Coca-Cola and, is just trying to Amazon's just another billboard. I would say the only other time is when you're first starting out. So you don't have a lot for that product. You don't have a lot of data, and you want to get some data. You want to get it out there. And then hopefully over time, you get more reviews, which gives you better click-through rate and gets you better conversion rate, which hopefully lowers your ACOS. And then also you see what your lifetime value of a customer is, which that's not a fast process because, it takes time for people to reorder, or maybe at least with subscribe and save, it could help you. So I would say that's the only other good time, but I wouldn't just ever do it as, well, it's my main keyword. And I hear this, people say this a lot. I've heard this so many times over the years. Oh, it's my main keyword. It's really important. So I'm willing to be at 300%. No, it's not that important. You may have to say, I'll go after longer tail, more specific keywords. And then those kind of maybe shorter tail keywords where you have a higher ACOS that you're really emotionally attached to, you try them again in the future. I wouldn't stay at 90 to 150% ACOS for long. Unless you just started. And even that, I still wouldn't go for long. So hopefully that helped, because being at the top of page one can sometimes be expensive, and it's not always worth it. There's no trophy for being at the top of page one. Abanoob says, another problem is that in my current parent listing has overwritten my old listing. Can you tell me how to fix that? I cannot even deleting this new listing, a new parenting relation, but I don't know how. Can you show me? I'm not fully following you. What's happening? You have overridden your old listing. So if you have an old flat file from before this problem happened, you could try uploading that flat file. And do that as one of the things to keep in mind is you have update and partial update, which makes no sense to what it really is. Update, you think like, oh, I'm just updating the fields. No, update changes everything. So if you have if you have a column and it's on your sheet and it's blank, to Amazon, you're saying it's blank. So it will overwrite zero, like zero, not zero, but like is blank. It'll delete anything in that. Partial update means only change fields if there's data in that particular field. So my suggestion would be, even if it's buried in your downloads folder with a bunch of other Excel files, which God knows this is the case in my computer, you may want to see if there's old file that you can use that, because I don't think Amazon keeps revision history for you in any way that I know how to get it. So if you made the change, hopefully you have pre-change, and then you can just upload pre-change for just that SKU. But in this case, you would want it to be an update, and then maybe go in and just update on your whatever the change was. If there were any changes you did want to have, update those columns. So hopefully that helped. All right. So we have Benayali 2001 says, hello, Kevin. Well, hello to you as well. Glad that you're here. I want to join Amazon Wholesale Marketplace as a career and learn some new skills, how to provide my services and be experienced like you. Yeah. So some of it is just going to be get out there, and try something different. So the reality is that, wholesale is tougher than it used to be. So if you're buying products from other brands and you're selling them and then sharing the buy box, there's still people that do well with that, but it's harder than it used to be. And then how people provide that service as a career, I mean, you could potentially reach out to wholesale sellers, and there's all strategies to figure out like what people are selling and if they're a big seller or not. If you could figure that out, then maybe potentially you could reach out to them and see if they need help with like product identification and, whatever else. And maybe that would give you some skills. That'd be one way to do it, or just start your own wholesale business and start buying products, see what works and what doesn't. So that would be my suggestion. Kind of how I learned all this stuff was through School of Hard Knocks, both experience, but then also, attending live streams, webinars, trainings, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts. All right. Faisal Shah says, you missed my question. Oh, how can we effectively use Amazon Marketing Cloud to gain deeper insights into our advertising performance? What are the key features of AMC that help us optimize campaigns beyond metrics and clicks? So, Amazon Marketing Cloud, the best thing to do is just create audiences. Create audiences for now. Start off with some of the basic ones they have, and then test those out, and then do modifiers for those audiences, and see if that helps you get more people. So rather than just having people that are likely to, or people that search for whatever phrase, that people that are have already visited your listing, so maybe they're continuing their searches and they're still searching for that kind of product. So like, oh, that person, I want to spend extra. I'm willing to get in front of that person, because not only are they searching for my keyword, they're also were already on my listing, so they've kind of shown some interest. So I want to get them to come back. So that would be one thing you could do with AMC. And this is, what will we do if campaigns bring impressions and clicks but not converted despite we test them on top of search, rest of search, and product search? All goes back to, let's just pull up the old Amazon.com. Let me type Amazon, and all right, so let me share my screen. All right, so think of it this way. This is the basic funnel of Amazon. This might be basic to some people, but it's foundational, so it's at least worth reviewing, even if you've been doing this for a while. Let's just look up garlic press. So someone searches. Now, all these have an impression. All PPC did for these guys right here was just to show them on the top of page 1. So they're here on the top of page 1. That PPC technically did its job. Now, you're not paying for it until someone clicks on it. So I won't click on these. I'll be nice to these people. I'll click on this one, which is not paid. So I click on that. And I was clicking on it based on a few things, like, for example, the main image. So let's go back to this. If I'm scrolling around, I might be confused by what this thing is. This looks so similar. Like, these two literally look like the exact same product, just slightly different angles. Probably came from the same factory. They just moved stuff around. This one is probably also the same one. But it's Amazon's overall pick for some reason. This one here. It's got a lot of garlic in the background. It almost like too much of this yellow, I think, kind of fades into the background. I would say they probably want to have like a box and use the box to have some sort of real estate, like effective garlic press studs, which is a weird phrase. I don't think that many people are searching for that, but what do I know? But you got to think from your standpoint of your buyers are searching. They're doing this. This is exactly the speed people are looking at stuff on Amazon. Oh, what draws my eye? Oh, okay, look at that. What else draws my eye? Oh, look at that. Oh, what draws my eye? Oh, Cuisinart. I'm familiar with that brand. Or this is the dialogue they're having in their heads. So then they eventually get to yours and they click. Now, they're not going to click because like, oh, okay, their PPC manager probably put a lot of time and effort to get them to the top of page 1. So why don't I click that one? No, they do that because they're more likely to get a click because it's up there. But that doesn't mean that just because someone clicks on it. Oh, actually, this is the same product. They're number one PPC and they're number one for organic. Good for them. So, it's now on this page where it's like the page is essentially the salesperson. The page is trying to convince them to purchase the product or not purchase, or they make a decision elsewhere. I guess the page is trying to get them to buy the product. So, they've got their brand story, they got their A+ content, looks like premium A+ content. So they're doing good things here. So you can all day long have the best PPC campaigns, but at the end of the day, people are going to buy based on, did they click on it? And if they don't click on it at a high percentage of the time, why would Amazon want to show it? Because they're not getting the revenue from clicks, because you're paying Amazon by a click. And then Amazon's also making money on the sale. So if you're not getting the sale, Amazon doesn't want to show it. So if you are doing everything great from a PPC standpoint, you have to improve your listing, hands down. So I know you said you've tried all these different things from bring impressions and clicks, but not converted, despite we test them on top of search, rest of search product page. Okay. So you've tested all these different placements. Now you got to test. I would say first thing to work on is your main image. That's going to be the most impactful thing. So like, for example, this one here lives off of, it's a brand name, OXO, that's, in stores everywhere. Whereas like some of these other, like this one here, I'm guessing it's based off of price, because like that's boring. Like why would I want to click that when I can click that? This one kind of reminds me of what it is. Like, oh, there's different colors I can get. Oh, that's what it has, garlic coming out of it. It's not like a walnut cracker or something like that. So like these are the weird things people are thinking in their brain. They need some sort of reassurance that it's the product they're looking for. So all things I would consider. So if you've tried a bunch of different things with your PPC and they're not improving performance, you need to focus on the click, which is going to be the main image, and then conversions, which is going to be on the listing itself. Most likely your image stack or your A+ content. That would be my advice to you. All right. Viper 1213 says, I have a product that can be used as a food container, but can also be used to store arts and crafts and a variety of things. How can I market it and turn ads on? Okay. Good question. You may want to try selling it both ways. Like have two different SKUs. It may be the same product. You just have a different UPC and different ASIN for each version. Because I would imagine, let's just for fun go back on Amazon. Let's test this out. I'm not just going to speak from the hip. So let's say food storage container. I see stuff. We got, it shows food. A lot that are either showing food or they're from like a brand name like Rubbermaid or Amazon Basics. So food. See lots of food in the containers. Like, what's weird about this one is, do people really put that many red foods in their containers? I doubt. If I was to suggest to this person they Photoshop some other food other than like a bunch of tomatoes, because not everyone stores that many tomatoes or red peppers or whatever that is, or peaches, mangoes. But you can see it's food. All right. So now if I look up, let's say arts and crafts storage containers, the images remind me that it's for arts and crafts. Now you may say, but it can be used for both. Great. Market it separately to each audience would be my suggestion. Because if I just go to storage containers, let's see what that gets me. because in both arts and crafts storage containers and food storage containers, it showed what was being stored in the containers. So this is generic. Okay, this one has food storage, more food storage. This is more like what you have as storage units. So these big storage bins. How on earth did that make it in there? That looks, it's a bad picture and I don't even know what it is. Food storage bowl. It looks like a Ziploc bag. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading that. But that's what their customers are thinking. And then food, snacks, storage trunk for your truck. Yeah, I would suggest if you're trying to market it to both, this is going to be counterintuitive and it's a little bit more messy for the purposes of inventory, but I would probably see if you can do some labeled as food storage and some labeled as craft storage. Now, looking at the other containers, the ones that look like food storage bins have food in it, and the arts and craft ones look different. So people might use it for both, but you may want to just pick a niche initially and go after that one, and see how that works. That would be my suggestion. All right. Next up, I have increased daily budgets on many campaigns. I sell a lot for Christmas. When do you suggest lowering those budgets? As of 12/21, my shipping time will be 5 days and not the same day since I'll be gone. All right. My suggestion is don't worry too much about budget when Christmas ends. Focus more on bids. Because right now, it's like a frenzy. Like, oh my God, I got to buy stuff now or it's not going to get here in time. So you're going to have a lot of people with that kind of mindset of like, I need to buy now or it's not going to work. I need to buy now. I need to buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now. So people are going to be thinking like, I need to buy now. Well, once you get past Christmas, then you got a lot of people going on Amazon because they're returning stuff and like, well, no, click around, whatever. So they're filling out, they're in a long line at Kohl's or the UPS store or wherever else people do returns. And, they forgot to have the thing ready. They didn't return it in the system yet. So like, oh, I'll do that while I'm in this long line with everybody else that's returning stuff. And they're clicking on whatever they're kind of window shopping, so to speak. Or they have gift cards. Gift cards don't expire. If they do, not in any time that I'm aware of. Okay, old Amazon gift cards we've used. So they're in no hurry. It's not like right now there's hurry. Like you better buy stuff now if you want it there in time for Christmas. And so that window is closing where you can still get stuff and have it delivered before Christmas. So people have that mindset of like, I got to buy now. So right now conversions are up, clicks are up, ACOS is down, everything's better. But you're going to have, it's a mess. The first, after Christmas, like your ACOS will probably spike. So the lever to fix that is not going to be your budget. It's going to be your bid. So I'd start lowering bids before I start worrying about budget, because if people aren't searching for whatever they're searching for now, if you have a product that does well at Christmas, they might be searching all over the place and you're having to increase your budgets to accommodate that. Well, if they're not searching, you're not spending. So I wouldn't worry too much about the budgets. I would focus more right now on your plan for after Christmas. How do you do the bids and then lowering your bids? That would be my first step, is maybe even across the board lower by 5% or something like that, or 10%. And then you can always increase it if need be. There's some campaigns that were not performing great, or some keywords were okay, mediocre at best, and right now look great. That look great will not look great in a week and a half from now. So my 2 cents. Jordan DeJesus says, howdy to you, Jordan. This will probably be the last question here. One thing I've learned is that PPC is a bell curve, and you should analyze the spend in this perspective. From July to December, I had 30% spend going to keywords that I had enough clicks that didn't convert. Viewing spend this way and finding the keywords that had X number of clicks, I now know I can exact match negate them to remove future spend. Yeah, and that's a good point. If you're looking at a larger time horizon, like July through December or year to date, because I don't know how in a lot of places, unless you have a tool that's saving the data for you, that you'll be able to know July to December. But if you can find a way to have a longer time horizon, you can make decisions based on like, oh, okay, I've got a bunch of these that in the last 6 months or this year, I got 20 clicks on and no sales, but I never noticed it because every time I went to optimize, it was 1-2 clicks. It wasn't enough to make a difference, but over time, those start to add up. And over the course of a year, you'll find a whole bunch that you can get rid of, and that'll save you some money in the future. So, all right. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us on this live stream. We're heading into the home stretch here of the holiday season. Really, I would say between now and you might still have a little bit of a last hurrah over this coming weekend. And then after that, it starts to dip down before we get to Christmas. So thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. I personally celebrate Christmas, so I like to say Merry Christmas. I know some people say Happy Holidays, but I say Merry Christmas. And or Merry Happy Hanukkah, Merry whatever other holiday you celebrate. I wish you the best. And thank you for being on the stream and hope you learned some good stuff. Take care.